Hello, good evening. This is the TwoSleevers kitchen. You may recognize it from Urvashi usually standing right here. Well, Urvashi's not here right now. So here in front of me, I have a Chef Choice 615A. It's a meat slicer, or a slicer, whichever you wish to call it. And so we're going to run through it. Now this has 1,337 reviews on Amazon, and it's 4.5 stars. So we're going to expect some really good things. Now here I have some cheese, I have some ham, I have some raw chuck roast, I have some cappicola here, I have a big loaf of bread, and I have a small loaf of bread. Okay, so let's take a look at this machine and look at all of its little features. So here on the end, there is a on and off switch. And if we turn it, it turns on. That's always handy. Okay, so back here we've got the slide. This sets the thickness, this little dial here. If we turn it, it's marked in little notches there, and it moves this thing back from the blade. Might be able to see it right there a little bit. It comes with one blade. The blade that's in it right now, you might can see that. It's got a serrated edge. It's kind of a saw. Well, they make a second blade that they don't give you with it that you have to buy, and that's this one. Now this one is, they say it's for thin cuts, and it probably is. It's smooth where the other one is serrated. Let's go ahead and cut something. That sounds like a good plan. So let's, we're gonna set this pretty thick. So we're gonna do some bread first. This is set on 10 right now, if you can see that. Probably can't. I don't think any of the cameras are showing that good a picture of that. So anyway, here's our loaf of bread. Now we're gonna take off until we get a nice flat surface there. So we slide this back, we put our loaf of bread in there. Well, look at that. This isn't gonna work because the loaf of bread is too big. But that's okay, because I had this thing over here. This is a glove, and this is a cut resistant glove. You can't cut it with a knife. Let's turn that on, and we're going to slide this through, and there slides a slice of bread. Works quite nicely. Okay, let's turn it off. See what we got here. Now, you can see this slice of bread right there. Nice and cleanly cut. Not a whole lot of fraying on it. It did a nice job of cutting this bread. Now, here's another little, now you can buy this sliced. You can buy it unsliced. So let's take the end of this off. We'll turn it on. And of course, the first thing I forgot to do was put a piece of parchment paper under it. But it gives us these nice little goodies for toasting if you want. If it was thinner, it would toast better. So let's dial this down here. Let's try to get all the mess here. I'm not going to really worry too much about the mess because we're having too much fun to care whether we make a mess or not. So we turn this on. I dialed it down to 2 or 3, I guess. Okay, so here comes our bread. Now that is a slice of bread. That would toast nicely, damn near turn into a potato chip. Let's do cheese. Here's some nice havarti, okay? And let's dial this down to 2. Okay, that's a number 2. Okay, so let's see if we can slice a piece of havarti. Havarti is usually pretty soft cheese. So we're going to push this through the blade. Now that is a nice looking cut piece of cheese right there. That's a good looking piece of cheese. Might have that in the bread with my apple. Okay, so we saw that slices cheese pretty well. Now here I have a piece of sharp cheddar. Sharp cheddar is a little harder than havarti. So let's go ahead and take the havarti out of here. Put it back on our plate. Put this down and slice the sharp cheddar. So here comes sharp cheddar. Now then again, there we have a nice thin piece of sharp cheddar cheese. So let's go ahead and move on to some meat here. Now ham, you know, everybody kind of likes ham steak sometimes. So I got this big chunk of ham because I wanted to see if this would cut a big chunk of ham. Now then again, this guard has to come off because it's not big enough to get around here behind this big chunk of ham. So with my glove protecting my hand, and let's turn this out to about 6 and see what happens to our piece of ham here. Well now, that looks like a pretty nice piece of ham. I would eat that. And we want that chuck roast to be pretty thin so it'll cook quickly. So we're going to turn this down to 3 and see what happens to it. Now I have not cut any chuck roast in this yet. So we're all going to be test pilot here and see what this does. I'm going to cut a couple of slices here. Okay, so that is our thin chuck roast. Now, I'll tell you what, you take this little piece of chuck roast here and you get some butter and you fry that little thin chuck roast in butter. It doesn't take very long for it to cook, and that is some really good stuff. And since it's cut across the grain, it's going to be quite tender and tasty. And it's got a real nice marble in it with the fat, so that's going to be some really good stuff. So we're going to take this off, okay? We slide this back out of the way. You can see right here there's a little black nut there that says to remove blade. Now it looks like you'd need a screwdriver, and you could. I don't really have a screwdriver in the kitchen, so I got a kitchen knife. And this nut isn't tightened all that tight, so you just turn it a little bit, it loosens up, and it comes off. Okay, there's the nut off. Now we're going to reach through there and take the blade off. Okay, so there's our blade. This is the serrated one. Okay, now if you look on the back side, you'll see there's white grease. Okay, and there's white grease in here on these plastic gears and stuff. That's to keep this from eating itself. This plastic gear that meshes with that plastic gear, the grease protects them. We're going to stick it back on there. Okay, it's on there, it's meshed in. We take our little nut and we turn it the other way. So now we have prosciutto. Now I have cut, this isn't prosciutto, this is cappicola. Now I did cut cappicola with the serrated blade, and it cut it just fine. It actually cut it quite thin. Not quite as good as maybe I would have liked, but it wasn't bad, not at all. So, but I want to try it with the smooth blade. I think it's going to do a lot better. So we're going to turn this thing down and we slide it through the blade. Well, looky there. There's capricola. Now, if you look at it, it's a little thick. If you bought capricola at the store, it'd be a lot thinner than that. Let's turn this down to 1 now and run another piece. Well, now that's much better. This is probably, I'm guessing, it's a little bigger than a 16th, smaller than an 1/8. But it's a nice piece of capricola, a little thick. Let's go ahead and put this pot or chuck roast back up there and see how this blade works on chuck roast. And we're going to set this down at 2, which I think is about where we were on the other one. And we're going to push it through there. Well, for a thin slice of meat, I don't see a lot wrong with that. So, what have we learned? It's a nice slicer. It really is. It'll slice what you want it to slice. It's a wonderful little machine. Now, you might have seen me pushing the meat through a little slow. Well, I wanted to have a nice, clean cut, full-length piece. If I really wanted to cut this ham up, and I'd probably get to where I could get that cut and just be slicing it off. There you have it. I don't know what else I can add. Am I happy with it? Yeah. Are we going to keep it? You bet. It can sit on that shelf over there with the 18 Instant Pots and 14 air fryers. Thanks for watching. Come visit us at TwoSleevers.com. We'll have a wonderful time. Thank you.